TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
This is Central Texas Living with Ann Harder.
Music is the universal language of mankind. So says Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And to me, one of the worst aspects of this pandemic and lockdown is the silencing of music concerts that we need for our very souls. Now, the Baylor Symphony Children's Concert Series is coming up on its 74th year. Just think about that. Up to 6,000 area elementary students come to Waco Hall. They hear a concert and they learn about the musical instruments that make up the orchestra. And for many years, I don't even know how many, it's been my privilege to serve as narrator for these concerts. And that's how I've gotten to know my very special guests today. It's my honor to welcome Stephen Hyde, who is music director, conductor of the Waco Symphony, and the Mary Franks Thompson Professor of Orchestral Studies and conductor in residence at Baylor. And I also welcome Matt Hagestuen, who is Baylor School of Music graduate student in conducting. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Ann.
I tell you what, the children's symphonies, that is the joy of my heart to be involved with this because of what it does for these fourth and fifth graders. What does it mean to you, Stephen?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for that, Ann, because you've been such an important part of it for many, many years. And we're just so honored to have you as a part of our Baylor Symphony family. I think these concerts are really, it's a first of all, obviously a window into the world of music for these children. But I think it's so much more, too. For many of them, they've never perhaps been on a bus and gone out of their neighborhood.
That's hard to believe, but it is true.
And all of a sudden, they're on campus of a large university, and it's just an opening of their eyes to the potential of the world, and it's exciting. And we enjoy these concerts so much. We're really going to miss that live audience this year. But we're always amazed with how wonderfully they're prepared and what a great audience they are. They listen and they clap at the right times, and it's always a great pleasure.
Now, Matt, you're kind of wrapping up your time at Baylor, right?
That's true, yes.
For how many years now have you also conducted some of these selections for the children's concerts?
I think this is the fourth concert, but it's been spread out. It's not been consistent, consecutive years, I don't think. But I think this will be the fourth time that I've been a part of it. And it is really a privilege. And over the last 8 years that I've been in Waco, I've always known about the children's concerts or been a part of them and just know how important it is to everybody.
Well, really, it's something that may be a little bit unique. It's sad to think that in other areas they may not have this kind of opportunity for children, but something that's been consistent for decades upon decades. I can say from my standpoint as narrator, standing on the stage, watching these kids come in, and to kind of tell you how it works, there are 3 separate concerts that happen because there are so many children. I mean, we're talking about 6,000 kids. And what does Waco Hall seat?
It seats about 2,300, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty packed. I mean, there are kids all the way in the balcony and getting all these little kids in and out is it's like a military operation.
That's exactly the word that I was going to use. Yeah.
It is. And for that, we thank the Waco Symphony Council because those are the ladies that have been doing it.
They facilitate it so beautifully. Everybody knows what their role is, and they assemble and they walk the kids into the right seats, and out in the parking lot, the police department's there and their parking buses, because of course we're really, really careful when you're moving that many little ones in and out of a parking situation that it has to be safe. And the Baylor police have been a great friend and helper in that military operation.
Well, yeah, it's quite a machine to see this work year after year. But what I love is when I see these kids come in, they're excited, and for many of them, have never been in Waco Hall, and what a beautiful, concert hall that is. It's just so majestic and big, and then when they hear the first strains of the orchestra, maybe for them the first time to hear a live orchestra, some of them literally jump in their seats. It's so cute, and then some are conducting, and I remember one little girl, she was in a velvet dress with pearls. I mean, she was dressed to go to the one little boy clip-on tie, So it's a big deal to these children too.
And coming at it from the other perspective, what it does for my students, I think, is important.
Right.
Because they're sharing their gift, and they're not just taking, they're giving something back to the community. And many of them, of course, will continue to do this because they're going into education, and they'll be involved in these kind of projects for their whole career. So I think it's an important opportunity for them to maybe get some ideas how to do it too. But I'm so thankful for the students of the Baylor Symphony because they are so positive. We have a motto: integrity with humility. And they really epitomize that.
Well, they do, and it's an all-day thing because we have a concert at 9, and then one a little bit after 11, and then another one at 1. I mean, it's a workout. And for some of your trumpet players, you had to kind of, if they had a really difficult line, you had to kind of spell them a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes they will spell each other and substitute, but also it's a good kind of test for them because it's in a professional situation.
Yes.
You have to come through 3 times, and it's not just that one performance. You have to pace yourself through 3.
Well, Matt, you have also conducted some of the pieces. I'm trying to think of some of the ones that you did.
Oh,
Does anything
the
stand?
Magic Flute, the Strauss, Zarathustra, the fanfare from that.
Oh, yeah.
There was La Mer last
First
year.
movement, yeah.
There's just been so many wonderful pieces that we've been able to perform for the children. So,
well, we're reminiscing about all these great concerts and what a joy it is for us to be involved in it. But sadly, that is not happening this year because, we just simply can't get, well, first of all, you can't get the whole orchestra on the stage with social distancing.
We can't. We have enough probably stage space to get the strings on. But of course, they're one on a stand. They can't sit next to each other. As they
right, and usually they kind of share music,
And then they have to stand or sit 6 feet apart. So and then plus the audience, you can only get 400 people. I say only 400. It's a huge hall. But by the time you socially distance, 400. And so
the drop in the bucket.
Yeah, and it's a big deal, I think, to the children. I remember, this is going back, but as a student at Dean Highland Elementary, when I was in the 4th grade, you were a big kid because you got to go to Children's Symphony. And of course, back then, we didn't have all the buses. Moms, carpooled all these kids over there. But I can remember going into Waco Hall for the first time, hearing a symphony for the first time, Dean Sternberg conducting, and they did Peter and the Wolf. And it was just such a wonderful experience for me as a 4th grader, and then got to go the next year and the next year. Well, of course, this year we're not having it. Lord willing, we will next year. So hopefully these 4th and 5th graders, the 4th graders last year got to come to a great concert, and then maybe they can still come next year, even though they're missing this year.
Right. They usually get 2 years.
Right.
So, I'm sorry for them, but we're going to do our best to provide a very fine experience for them anyway. Okay,
so let's talk about that, Matt. You are just the wizard at video production, too. I've seen some of the great videos that School of Music has up. I bet have you done a lot of them?
Probably 90% of them.
Well, it was great. I was just watching the jazz, the Baylor Jazz group, and they were all blowing their horns through masks. I don't know how they did that.
It's a mystery to me too.
Really? How did they do that? And they sounded great.
Well, they have at the end of the instruments, if it has a bell, they have a cover for the bell.
Right, they had a cover on
so the aerosols don't escape from there. But also, They do wear masks, and then they have a little door that opens up.
Okay, if they had to have a slit, but still to breathe in the air. I mean, I don't know about horn playing, but do you breathe through your nose too?
Well, I mean, when I played brass, which was about 1 million years ago, I would breathe through both. But I mean, it's gotta not be easy.
Yeah.
I haven't tried playing anything with a mask, but
well, bottom line is there's a lot now online that you can enjoy. You can't go to concerts necessarily. Although, do you have any that are happening that folks can come to?
Yeah. Well, we don't let the audience in.
Okay.
And that's a Baylor rule, but we've been live streaming all the concerts. So there are dozens of concerts they can, if they go to the School of Music website, there's a link there you just touch and you click on it and it'll take you right to the live stream of the evening. So you can still hear. And we have a lot of people saying, boy, I enjoyed that. So they're listening.
Good. Well, maybe become more aware of it. As far as the Children's Symphony concert series, though, music teachers, obviously, they're kind of our key point person because in the past they've gotten whole packets of information that Paula Hoover has put together for them on the different composers and whatever they'll be hearing during that 1 hour concert. This year's different, though. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be like a series of videos that they can download and watch in their classroom with the kids.
Or from home.
Or from home, yeah, right. Yeah. Homeschoolers. I mean, we're going to try to get the word out to everybody that these videos are available, and they're short, and they're going to focus on the different families of the orchestra.
Yeah, we have about 6 episodes queued up. We're creating content for each of those from each of the different families, the strings, the brass, the woodwinds, the percussion, keyboards, and harp, and also the last episode, which is the full ensemble, which was pre-recorded from past concerts with the Baylor Christmas. Since it's coming up into December now, it seems fitting that we would end with something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool opportunity, it being virtual, in the way that you couldn't necessarily see the instruments as up close. In Waco Hall, you'll be able to see them very closely.
Right, you get the camera right up there.
Correct. You'll be able to see, the texture of the instruments, or you get to see how their fingers are moving the valves, or, the tuba player, he's moving the slide like to change pitch. Like, that's cool. You can't see that from, 50, 100 feet away. So that's something neat that's going to come out of this, is the kids are going to get that opportunity to see something super close.
So each individual one, 7 minutes. I mean, they're not terribly long.
Yeah, about 7 or 8 minutes is what we're projecting they're going to be. So
which is great, and you'll have the individual instruments being sort of showcased, and then an ensemble.
Correct.
Will play a specific composition.
Correct, and that instrumentation is within each family. So for the string family, we'll show the string instruments in demonstrations. Baylor students will be doing those demonstrations, and then we'll transition into a piece just for strings. In this case, it's going to be the Tchaikovsky Serenade. It's an excerpt from the first and fourth movement. And then for the brass, it's the Vienna Philharmonic Fanfare.
Ooh.
And for the woodwinds, it's a Cuban piece.
Fun
stuff like that. It's going to be really neat because each family will be represented individually. So.
And I want to brag on Matt just a little bit, because he's not going to brag, and boy, am I going to miss him.
I know.
He's going to graduate, I believe, in December, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. But I rely so much on him, and he's so creative, and he's got so many ideas. This year is Matt's baby, and he's put this all together in a very, very, I think, informative but enjoyable way. And Matt is just an amazing person. Not only is he a fine conductor, but he's a thinker, and he has some ideas about ways that classical art music can be presented that are more engaging than we traditionally have done. And I'm really convinced that some of his ideas, as he continues to develop them, could have a wide impact on the world of art music and the world of film too.
I know you are a whiz at editing in the video studio as well, but you even mentioned to me possibly translating these.
Yeah, it's something that if we're going to continue to put it out to the community, it's really easy to add subtitles or closed captioning. And, that's something that we could in the future develop for, the Spanish speaking community in our cities or, other languages too. But that's something that, we could easily, do for that community that maybe doesn't have access to, understanding the videos in English because they don't speak English, or they come from a community where Spanish is the primary language, and then that allows us to reach those people with this information as well. And then I also am really passionate about developing content in other languages, specifically starting in those languages too, not just translation, but that's a long way down the line. But it's something that I think is really important, because when we provide content for students, especially in their native language, in the language that they feel most comfortable in, that's incredibly helpful. So.
Well, and of course, music is that universal language, and it speaks to us. So when will these become being available? Is it going to be like a podcast where we're going to drop the strings this week and next week we'll do the woodwinds or the brass and do it kind of sequentially?
That's the plan. So when we have the string video done, for example, we'll be able to launch that video. That'll be after the first week of November, because we again have to take that time to film it in that first week.
All right, you haven't even shot all the
Correct.
Pieces of the music yet.
Correct. And when we do have all those queued up and all ready to go, we'll be dropping them in November throughout the month. Probably a little more than every week, because that way we'll be able to get them out before the end of the month. But there'll be some space in between, and then they'll all continue to be available all the way through the rest of the end of the year and beyond that, so they can be accessed at any time.
Oh, sure. And the last one, as you say, is going to be some video from years past of Baylor Symphony Christmases with the choir, and introducing the human voice as an instrument, and also talk to conductors. There'll be like little short interviews with, like, Stephen, I would assume, about what it's like to keep everybody together.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Yeah. Because Baylor Christmas is, it's an entity unto itself. Very much like children's concerts, it's a military operation in a lot of ways, because there's all the technical aspects of it, but there's also the musical aspects and the logistics. And for a conductor, we get to collaborate with these huge ensembles. And during COVID, we don't have that same size of group. But I think it's important to showcase, that aspect of it, because as a conductor, it takes a lot of collaboration and a lot of skills from everybody involved working together to put all of these concerts on and to share them with other people.
And those Baylor Christmas, it's called. Have a wide audience, and I really congratulate my colleagues in the choral side, because they do all the organization and the orchestra plays and accompanies, and then we have our own feature. But those performances are heard literally all across the country. I know there's at least 15 states, and I think there's more than that this year. So it really spreads the name of Baylor, but also it provides opportunities for people who don't have access maybe to live Christmas music, a real quality program. So we're proud of that. Well,
and since we're kind of in bragging mode, the Baylor Symphony won another big accolade.
Yeah, there's a
I know the trumpet group, they're always winning, big time prizes.
Yeah. There's a national prize called the American Prize, and in the university college division, the Baylor Symphony just won it for the 5th time out of the last 6 years.
That's incredible.
We came in second one time. But we're proud of our students and the hard work and the talent, and also it takes a village. Those studio teachers who've helped to recruit these students and then develop their talent, and it's really a huge endeavor and a team effort. And so it's a thing that it's not just the Baylor Symphony, it's the whole group, the support of the university and the School of Music and all of that.
Well, I believe very strongly in the work of the Baylor School of Music, and my aunt endowed a scholarship in my name, and she said, "Where do you want it to be?" And of course, I think everybody thought it would be in, communications department, something, radio, TV, something. I said, I want it in the School of Music because
and we're so grateful.
I know these students, they enrich the world. And for so many of them now, Matt, you're going to go on and do something great in conducting in music. But a lot of those students, they major in music and then they end up being an accountant or a doctor, or they do other ththings. But music just enriches our lives, enriches our world. And so that's why I said, I don't care if it goes to a timpani player or, whoever you need to recruit. I want that. A lot of them have gone to choral singers, but choral music folks. But anyway, I'm just so proud of that.
Well, and as somebody who doesn't just do music either, like I've been doing video and I've been a technician
You're great
for a
at
long
that.
time.
Yeah.
Like participating in music, even though music is what I spend all my time doing, as a person who works in other fields, music continues to enrich myself, but also my colleagues in those fields as well. So when you're saying like somebody they went to school to be an accountant, but they played in the Baylor Symphony,
right?
Like, I mean, what an incredible testament to the experience that they can take from that with them as they go into their job, into their business, into their life, because it always stays with you. It never will leave you, because it always reminds you of things that are beautiful, or things that are enriching, or things that you don't want to forget. So.
And again, these videos will be available coming up in November.
Mm-hmm.
And they can find them where? They
can find them on the Baylor Music YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So if you go into the search bar, all you got to do is type in Baylor Music. It'll be one of those results that comes up, and you can see the logo there with the BU, and just click on that, and you'll be able to find them in our videos list.
I think we're also going to put them on the Waco Symphony Council website, a link. So if they're accustomed to usually getting their preparation materials from the council, they can also go there, and we'll have the links up there.
Wow. Well, we still have to talk about the Waco Symphony, but what we'll do is use that as a tease for next week. Stephen, if you can stay and chat with me for next week about Waco Symphony, what we'll do is thank you both for being with us today, and we'll end with a little recorded promo that we did about the series of videos that will be taking the place of the children's concerts this year, and I hope you'll go to the Baylor YouTube channel. Again, that exact address?
The Baylor Music YouTube channel.
Baylor Music YouTube channel, and they'll be available for you there. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ann Harder on the beautiful Baylor campus in front of the Glennis McCrary Music Building. You know, it's been an unbroken tradition since 1946 that area school children have been able to come to Waco Hall and hear the Baylor Symphony Orchestra in the Children's Concert Series. This year, the 74th year, we can't meet together in person for concerts, but we've done something a little different. We have produced a series of videos that introduce the children to the various members of the musical orchestral family: the strings, the brass, the woodwinds, percussion, harp, and keyboards. And these will be available for teachers to use in their classroom, for parents to use at home. We just hope you'll enjoy it as you will see the talent of our Baylor musicians, and as we try to make this wonderful experience of music alive for children. This will be available to you on the Baylor Music YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. Central Texas Living is part of the Rogue Media Network family. Be sure to check out their other shows at roguemedianetwork.com. Please rate us 5 stars on iTunes and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Join us again soon for more Central Texas Living, the podcast.
tuning into KNOW Waco. I am your host, Debbie, here to help you get in the know about Waco. So you may be asking yourself, why am I here? I'm here to be your tour guide through Waco. I'm here to tell you all the goings-on in and around Waco. I'm going to give you the 411 on what's happening, what's going on, and what events you should go to. This is your host, Debbie, signing off. Now that you know, go. Just go, Waco.
You are going on a run.
Are you building a new business while managing a family? Are you tired of trying to balance home and work and everything seems to be coming up short? Then there's a podcast made just for you. Baking Your Business from Scratch is where we create the perfect recipe for building a successful business while managing your home and family with love. Come join us and see for yourself.
This has been Rogue Media Network Podcast.